Shortly after I started working at PETA India, I went to a slaughterhouse to document the conditions there. One cow was dying, but she fought to live as 5 men surrounded her, beating and dragging her to a terrifying death on the kill floor. As I watched the sheer despair in her eyes, I vowed that I would not forget her. The first campaign that PETA took on involved the almost unimaginable cruelty that animals endure in the leather industry. Bulls and cows, old and young and even babies, are sold and then crammed onto vehicles in such high numbers that their bones break, they suffocate, or they die en route to slaughter. Others are forced on a death march to the slaughterhouse over hot, dusty roads for many kilometers. Hungry, thirsty, and exhausted, many collapse. Drivers rub hot chili peppers and tobacco into their eyes or twist their tailbones, breaking them joint by joint in an effort to force them to get back up. I remember Ingrid cradling the huge head of one old bull in her arms and gently flushing the smear of peppers from his oozing eyes. It was the only kindness he would ever experience. The investigation marked the first time that appalling cruelty of leather was exposed, and although the government has not done its job in stopping that abuse, we have influenced many consumers and designers in India and around the world to go leather-free. PETA's powerful video, Glass Walls, exposes how chickens, pigs, cows, and other animals are killed in slaughterhouses. PETA friend Paul McCartney has said that if the video were shown in every school, the next generation would grow up vegetarian. I have no doubt. Every day, more and more people request a free vegetarian-vegan starter kit. Change is happening, and it's happening right now.
As PETA's science policy advisor, I have watched heartbreaking footage of monkeys kept in solitary confinement in bare and rusty cages. I have seen sick, undying animals left to languish without veterinary care, including rabbits suffering from skin diseases and rats with open wounds. PETA exposed these deplorable conditions at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and after a relentless 3-year campaign, we convinced the institute to retire the aging monkeys and make significant animal welfare improvements. This is just one of our victories. Today, I'm proud to say that testing cosmetics and their ingredients on animals is no longer permitted in India. But perhaps the case that affected me the most involved 70 beagle puppies who were slated to be poisoned in cruel drug tests. Experimenters use beagles because of their friendly nature. The dogs spend their entire lives in barren cages, denied the love of a family, a home, a freedom to run, play, and feel the grass beneath their feet, until they are poisoned to death when the experimenters are done with them. PETA learned that the beagles have been illegally imported from China and fought hard for their release. Member of Parliament Maneka Gandhi and activists from all over the world joined in and worked behind the scenes, and together we made it happen. All the 70 puppies were eventually freed and adopted to loving families. These dogs are just like dogs we share our homes with. All animals are. My job every day is to make sure that others just like them escape cruelty.
Russia was one of thousands of bullocks who are forced to haul heavy sugarcane carts from the field to the factory. Day after day, he plodded along for miles in stifling heat, feeling the sting of the whip and stumbling on the rutted, dusty roads. But not anymore. Russia was one of the first 10 bullocks Animal Raj rescued through a groundbreaking tractor project. This first of its kind effort enables poor farmers to retire their bullocks by replacing them with mini tractors at a subsidized cost. Since the first 10, we have retired many other bullocks, and the Lokmangal Sugar Factory has even pledged to replace all 1800 bullocks who howl its carts within 3 years. When Russia arrived at Animal Raj's home for retired bullocks, the first thing that we did was carefully cut away the ropes that tugged and rubbed constantly at his sensitive nostrils. I could see the relief in his eyes. He nuzzled me as if to say thank you. After enjoying a sweet treat of jaggery, Russia and the other rescued bullocks lay down to rest the aching limbs at last. They seemed to know that they would never again have a heavy yoke placed on their necks or feel the pain of being whipped, and that they would never end up at a slaughterhouse. I want every bullock to experience this relief, and Animal Raj's tractor project is working hard to make that happen. One day, sooner than you might think, Bullocks will no longer be treated like machines sent to slaughter after a lifetime of overwork. Thanks to PETA, they will finally have the rest, care, food, medical treatment, and affection that they deserve.
After a school workshop that I gave, a little girl told me, "Miss, starting today, I will never hurt any animal, and the first step will be to go vegetarian." This is the power of Compassionate Citizen, PETA's humane education program for children. And it was the moment when I really knew that I was helping to change young hearts and minds forever. Today's children are tomorrow's consumers, decision makers, and parents. So helping them develop empathy for and reject violence against all beings, humans and animals alike, is vital. Compassionate Citizen got a big boost when it was endorsed by the Central Board of Secondary Education, which issued a notification to more than 10,000 CBSE affiliated schools in India to use PETA's program as part of its official school curriculum. Nearly 16,000 private and government schools have used Compassionate Citizen to date, reaching more than 3 million students. If we teach young people to respect and protect animals, they will have respect for all beings. Every time another child signs PETA's pledge to make kind choices during a school workshop, I know that he or she is taking the first step.
Horses have been used as beasts of burden in Mumbai for so many years that sometimes people don't even see them anymore, even as they struggle on the streets in plain view. PETA has worked to open the public's eyes to the suffering of horses used to pull Victorias. These horses are forced to pull heavy loads all day long in sweltering heat and monsoon rains, and drivers often use spike bits that cut and tear their mouths. When horses are too worn out or ill to continue, they often collapse. They never get enough food or water, and at the end of an exhausting day, there's no relief. PETA investigators documented filthy and dilapidated stables and injured, sick, and severely malnourished horses forced to stand amid their own urine and feces on trash-strewn floors. These horses were tightly bound by their legs and heads, allowing them little to no movement. Feed troughs and mangers were filthy, and food was non-existent, rotten, or contaminated. Some horses were so malnourished that their bones were protruding. Others were found with untreated injuries. Horses were commonly found with painfully swollen joints from being made to work on concrete. These stables are unlicensed and so atrocious that they also put public health at risk. We have called for a complete ban on Victorias in the city, and we intend to achieve it. Last year, Ingrid took the campaign to the streets when she hitched herself to a Victoria and pulled it while holding a sign reading, "Horses worked to death, ban Victorias." Whether it's through pulling carriages, filing lawsuits, or rescuing animals, we will persist in establishing fundamental rights for all animals, and one day soon we'll declare victory for the horses suffering on Mumbai streets. Seeing Ingrid straining under the weight of the heavy Victoria tackle, I was reminded of the words we've all heard her say many times, that when it comes to feelings like fear, hunger, pain, love, and joy, a rat
is a pig,
is a dog,
Is a boy.